All right, hello again. This is Jeff Scott of Blackhawk Technical College. I've been going through our textbook, Sam's Teach Yourself Bootstrap in 24 hours for the 152-158 Advanced Website Development class for the fall 2016 semester at Blackhawk Technical College. We're up to hour 10. Images, media objects, and glyphicons. And there are 6 objectives here: how to add images to Bootstrap pages, how to make images responsive, which is very easy, how to change the shapes of your image, which is also easy, how to add text blocks below or beside images with media objects, how to add text blocks below images with thumbnails, and how to use the free glyphicons. Remember, one of the things about Bootstrap is it allows the free use of hundreds of glyphicons, whereas most frameworks do not provide those for free. What you are asked to do is, if you use the glyphicon, to give attribution somewhere on the site to the people who have provided those for you. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so we all know how to add an image to a website and how you do something like this. And this is really the minimum that you should have. The source, which is the file you're going to add, and some kind of alternative text, which again you can use for someone who has a screen reader. All right. It's also considered to be a good practice, when possible, when known, to include the height and the width also on your image, so that immediately the browser can start setting aside the amount of space that it needs. All right. Bootstrap helps make your images responsive by adding the .image/responsive to the image. So that's what you do to make it responsive. Notice one of the things it does is it applies the max width of 100%. That's what's important. And what that says is always make the image as big as it can possibly be for the size of media in which it's currently being used. All right. So you should always create your images as large as you might need it for the responsive container. Then you allow CSS to resize the images down to a more manageable size. When you set these up, these image shapes, and I want to push that up just a tad more, you can have rounded, with rounded corners, circle, or thumbnail. So this is, all three of these are the same image, but they're shown with each of the different image classes provided. All right? And which one do you use? You can't answer a question like that. It depends on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to show. You can mix and match. You can use all of them. You can use none of them. You can set it up whatever way you want to. There are potential problems with IE8. I'll let you read that on your own. Again, hopefully no one that you're working with is using IE8 anymore anyway. All right. Bootstrap provides several classes for you to work with media objects. And as it says here, media objects are a way to add components that feature both text and an image or other media such as video or audio aligned to the right or left of text. You aren't limited to images, etc. You can place HTML in there also, but there are better ways of doing it. Some of the classes that you can use for defining media objects and media groups are shown right here. All right, and they mention the media object may seem confusing, but by following these steps, you'll be able to create one quickly and easily. And I think I've shown you this, but on the off chance that I have not, what I have been doing, and I still am behind on this, but I've got chapters 13 through 24. I've got all of the source code. So notice I don't have the part 1 or part 2 stuff except for chapter 13. But here's an example. These are all the code listings in chapter 13. They're out there. Now they may look a little funky, but they are out there. All right. Some of them I'm not sure exactly how they'll work and what they'll do, etc. All right. But I just wanted you to see that they are out there. And by the time you watch these, all of these from chapters 1 through 4 will be in here. And from chapters 5 through 12 will be in here. We've already got the part 3 stuff. Okay, simple example. And we've already got the part 4 stuff. Now the part 4, just so you know, when you look at this, especially when I get towards the end, notice those are PHP files. All right, so we're going to be talking about how to integrate this in and work with it with a server-side package. Okay? All right, and they show you an example here. And again, these are just images. They would not have to be. These one or both could be videos also. And here's the associated text. Okay? After you have one media object that says you can add more to a page and you can nest them if you need to. Again, sometimes I believe, and I'm not saying students, I'm saying anybody that starts to do this kind of stuff, sometimes I think the problem that they have is literally they are limited by their own imaginations. As far as, well, I could never do that. Well, think about what you want to do and then think about what you'd have to do in order to make that happen. Because most of the time, yes, you can. You can also set up thumbnails. All right, and sometimes you'll set those up, and you've seen this before, where you click on the thumbnail and then down below you might get a bigger image, etc. I'm not going to do this because I don't have these thumbnails that the author has here. This is an important concept, and I tried to talk about this with a BTC Uber example. Use equal size thumbnails. You can use them of any size, but the thumbnail class will work best when it's the same size. Otherwise, as mentioned right here, if you don't do that, you can end up getting white space and other things. Okay, it says if you need a presentation with different sized images, you should check out this plugin. I've never looked at it, so I have no idea what it is. You can add captions below your thumbnails, as shown right there. All right, and that gets us to the last topic in the chapter, which are glyphicons. All right, and if you notice, here's the glyphicons that are included in Bootstrap 3. So if I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So if I did my math right, that's what, 272 different glyphicons right there. All right, and maybe I did my math wrong. Maybe it's 260, but you get the point. There's a lot of them. Again, normally these are not available for free, but the creator has made them available to Bootstrap customers for free. You should include a link back to http://glyphicons.com on your website. All right, they're easy to use. They're fairly easy to add, and in many ways, or in most ways, I would say, they're pretty intuitive. They require that you use the base .glyphicon class and the specific icon class. You place these, ideally, you place them in an empty span tag, although you can place them in basically any kind of tag you want. All right, a few things to remember about glyphicons. Place all icons on an empty HTML element. Again, the best is a span tag. Always include the .glyphicon base class. Do not add an icon to another component. Do not add icon classes to an element that already has classes. One concern it says there with using glyphicons is that they're solely a visual medium. So in other words, they might be confusing for people who have screen readers. So it says there are two possible scenarios typically when you use glyphicon. And I'd say the first one is probably maybe even used the most. You just use it for some kind of a decorative meaning. All right. So for decorative icons, it says you can hide them from people who have screen readers. The other ones is when they do have some meaning. All right. So in this chapter, we covered some of the talk about images, media objects, thumbnails, and glyphicons. As far as the Q&A, it seems like adding the one class .imageResponsive isn't enough to make it responsive. How does that work? All right. It is enough, and really it's the width equal 100% that does it more than anything else, just so you're aware of that. All right. Secondly, are there other shapes that I can convert my images to in Bootstrap? So Bootstrap offers the 3, but if you wanted to do other things, you could always, if you wanted to do this, you could always use CSS in order to do other kinds of things. All right. Okay, let's look at the quiz. Which of the attributes is required on an image tag? Well, you should know this already, that it's A, the alt tag, and C. Technically, some books will tell you it's just C, but it really is A and C. Number 2, what does the image responsive do? The answer is D again, B and C. All right, it makes the maximum width 100%, and it makes the height automatic. Okay, so D and D to start with. Number 3, how can you turn your image into a circle? You use B, the .img circle class. Number 4, true or false, the image shape classes work in all browsers. And I believe that's false. I believe that there is still some problem in IE8. Number 5, true or false, HTML is valid inside of media objects. True. Number 6, where should you put the HTML for a media left element? And that's A, it should come before the media body. Number 7, what's the difference between a .media element and a .media list element? And it's C, they are both container classes for media objects, but a media list is placed inside of UL or OL, unordered list or ordered list tags. Number 8, how can you size thumbnail images in Bootstrap? The answer is C. You can use grid classes on the images. Number 9, what type of content can go into a caption element? The answer is A, any HTML. And number 10, which of the following is the correct method to add an icon to a Bootstrap page? The answer is B. Span class equals glyphicon, then name your glyphicon inside of a span. Okay? So you need to say glyphicon for the class and the particular glyphicon that you want to use. All right, that's it for Chapter 10. When I come back and join you again, which won't be probably till next week. Yeah, there's not enough time to really do this chapter and give it justice right now. We're going to go into Chapter 11. We've got Chapters 11, styling and using buttons and button groups. Chapter 12, creating navigation systems with Bootstrap. And then Chapter 13, which is on Bootstrap utilities. And once we get done with those chapters, we'll jump into Chapter 14, which is Section 4 of the book, Chapters 14 through 20, which are on the JavaScript plugins.